Modding Skyrim with Vortex. Part 16. Realistic Water 2. Better Water and Natural Waterfalls.
Well, hello, it's Cupshotting again with another episode of Modding Skyrim using Vortex. Today, we're going to do the water. We're going to bring it up to the same level as the Vedigold grass and trees mods that we put in last time. It'll only be 3 quick little mods. What I'm going to do, a little different in this show, is to do the results first, and then we'll go back and run you through how to download them all. Hopefully that'll work a little bit quicker for all of us. We'll see. Talk to you in a bit. We're looking at where we left off our last episode, when we installed the Vedigold grass and trees. We still have the standard or vanilla version of Skyrim's water. Here I have added Realistic Water 2. You can see that the surface of the water has smoothed out a little bit, and the reflections are a little cleaner. Now I have added Better Water for Realistic Water 2. The changes aren't very obvious here, but when we get to a scene where the water is still, we should see better reflections in the surface. And finally, I have added Natural Waterfalls. The waterfall on the right is in the distance, but you can still see a bit of a change. Let's go to Whiterun and up into Dragonreach and look at one of the pools of water and see what a difference we've made there. We are outside Dragonreach and we're looking at a standard or vanilla pool of water. Once again, you can see that the ripples in the water are rather harsh. And now I've added Realistic Water 2. It has really smoothed out the water. You can see the fish, you can see the skeleton, and even a little reflection in the water. The steps are clearer as well. And now I've added Better Water for Realistic Water 2. The reflections do appear a little bit better. It's not much of a change though. Let's move on to a location where we can see the waterfall effect a little better. We are on the road leading out of Whiterun, where we can see the trees and the grass that we installed in our last episode. I'm going to start again looking at the standard vanilla water. If you look closely, you will notice that there is a distinct line between the ground and the water. The mods I add today will not fix that. We will need to use something known as a shader to fix that. Shaders are an advanced form of modding. A good computer is required in order to get them to run correctly. I've left them off so that people who don't have really good computers can still set up some nice mods. I'll get back to shaders in a future episode. Let's move on and add Realistic Water 2 and Better Water for Realistic Water 2. Here's Realistic Water 2. And here's Better Water for Realistic Water 2. A little bit of an improvement. And now we will add Natural Waterfalls. This makes a big change. You may not like it. You could leave it off. I find it interesting. Let's go to the big waterfall by the crossroads and see what kind of changes we get there. Once again, I'll start with the standard or vanilla water. We can refresh our memory of how it flows over the rocks and pools at the bottom of the falls. Now I've added realistic water too. We can see how the water has smoothed out a little bit. And now I've added better water. It doesn't have much of an effect in a waterfall scene, but when I add natural waterfalls, what a difference. Now we can really see how modifying the water has changed our gaming experience. If you've had your sound on, you will have noticed that Natural Waterfalls adds its own sound effects. This is a nice plus. I'll shut up for a minute so that you can listen. And finally, let's look at a more peaceful stretch of water and see what effect we have there. Here is our standard vanilla view. And here I have added realistic water too. And here I have added better water for realistic water too. And we can see the final effect of all our mods. Let's go back to Nexus and take a look at how to download our mods. I've returned to Nexus, I've logged in and selected Skyrim Special Edition as my game. I start by searching for Realistic Water 2. And here it is by TechAngel85. Click on it and it comes up and we can read about it. It tells us that it makes robust improvements to the water effects. There are no requirements. And if we scroll down, we can read all about it. Most of the information is unneeded for a beginning modder. Scroll back up and select Files. There are 4 of them, but we only need the main one. We do our normal slow download. And we can watch it install to our profile with our trees and grass mods by Vedagalt, which we did last time. The textures are trivial, but I like the alternative volcanic watercolor. The downloadable content is chosen, and we can watch it install. And here it is in our mods. And we can go right back to Nexus and search for Better Water for Realistic Water 2. And here it is by the Blender Animator. We can read about the mod and how it aims to improve the realism of the water. Its only requirement is that we have Realistic Water 2, which we just downloaded. Click on Files, select the main file, and then do the slow download. When it is done downloading, it tells me that there are unresolved file conflicts. Vortex doesn't know if it should put Better Water before or after Realistic Water. If I look at the Better Water Nexus page, I can read that I should put the Better Water files after the Realistic Water files, and that is what I will do. And now back one last time to Nexus to get natural waterfalls. And here it is, by Clofas. There are a number of extra little mods here, but you don't need them unless you feel that one of them might help your particular game. Just click on Natural Waterfalls. It says that it is a complete locational overhaul of every waterfall. It also has requirements. The backported extended support, which you only need if you have a very old version of Skyrim, and Dindalot, which is only useful if you have a very good computer. It improves the view in the distance. Neither one of these mods are absolutely necessary to run natural waterfalls. You can scroll down and read about the options that you will be offered later on, but for now I'm just going to click on the download and install it. There are a few options. I chose the brighter foam and the 4K resolution. If you have a computer with only 1K resolution, you should choose that. I chose all of these, and I kept the jumping fish. You can read about these at the Nexus webpage, where it discusses options. Here, I don't need the water, as I have Realistic Water 2, and the ERM is for advanced modders, so I'll just continue along. I don't need any of these patches, and I make sure that Realistic Water 2 is checked off. Once again, there are conflicts when loading. I'll have natural waterfalls load after everything so that it overwrites their files, and I see the ones from natural waterfalls. I can see that everything is enabled, and I can see the plugins as well. I can now deploy the mods and go into the dashboard. Now I can start Skyrim. I will start a new game. Then we can see all of our results. Once again, we come out in Whiterun. Let's look around. Or, as Mercutio says to Tybalt, will you walk, you rat catcher? Let's look at the water. We're going to look at a pool of water. See how clear it is. You can see the steps, some nice reflections, and Mr. Skeleton is still floating there. More clear water. We'll put some water lilies in there later. That would be nice. You can see a little waterfall. A little foam. Sometimes I think it's too clear. You can see the water falling here as well. We'll go outside. We can enjoy our Vedagalt foliage as we walk through town. Now that's clear. I like that. The rocks look wet. And this way as well. Once again, we can look at our Vedagalt grass as we head off to the waterfall. That was the sound of the Natural Waterfalls mod. And a nice clear brook. Very nice foam and surface color. I like the reflection of the green on the surface of the water and the reflection of the mountains in the water. We'll stop here. After all, we can wander around admiring the water while we're playing Skyrim. Well, installing the water was pretty easy. We can move on now and do our last big mod for landscapes. We're going to do Skyland next. There's a lot of options there. I'm going to devote the whole episode just to that.